everyone. Wendy and Les here.
Hello, everybody. Today is an exciting day for us. We're going to be doing an interview in a moment here with Barb and Darryl, who just moved out to St. John a few months ago from our neck of the woods in BC. And we're excited to hear their story. And this is actually our first time meeting them in person, even though we have exchanged many phone calls, hundreds of emails, text messages. They bought their home here completely remotely. And our first meeting today, and it's been a pleasure so far, and we're going to start talking to them right away.
Right away, okay. So we're going to switch this over.
There we go.
Oh, okay. So Darryl's the one that's waving, and the pretty one is Barb.
Thank you.
They were both waving, and they're both
Okay.
pretty.
Yeah. You look lovely, Bob.
I don't have my makeup on.
All right, so if you wouldn't mind, let's start with what your motivation was to move to St. John from the lower mainland, greater Vancouver area of BC.
Get away from the kids, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. I was in BC for 50 plus years, and I love BC, but it's been getting worse and worse as far as political corruption and taxes getting much higher in areas they shouldn't be, and the price of houses was just unbelievably expensive. The extreme weather events that were going on and seem to be going on every year there now was something we were looking to get away from as well, simply because of our age, health issues, things like that. And
yeah, we were approaching retirement, and we wanted to be mortgage free and to enjoy our life and not have some money in the bank and just be happy.
So why St. John?
we looked at St. John. Actually, both of us looked at St. John, and it had some of the best ratings for lack of crime. And we could see and we've driven pretty much all over St. John right now. We don't see the tent cities that we used to see in BC, which is sad enough by itself, but you just don't seem to have the same people who are in just utter down and outs, and they're just not having any luck. The government's not helping them, and it may seem bad all over it sometimes, but I don't see it as much here. Number one, it is a beautiful city architecturally, and we just decided it was by the ocean. Fredericton isn't. Fredericton's really nice. I mean, you can be by the river and stuff like that, but we had ocean on our minds.
And the other thing was affordability.
Yeah.
You know, have to be honest. It was you could get a lot more for your buck. It was nice and close to the beach, and really, where in BC can you buy a house, a beautiful house, 6 minutes from the beach, and not pay millions of dollars?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was one of the main.
Now, this is where it gets interesting for me. And this is why I was looking forward to this. So we get many questions on our YouTube channel about healthcare in New Brunswick. You both have experienced some health issues recently, from what I gather. Did that scare you?
Not really, because it's basically the same all across Canada. If you move from one province to another, you're going to have to fill out some forms, and you're going to have to wait to be assigned to a doctor, usually a family doctor or a practical nurse or something like that. If a person is coming from another province, I would highly advise them to get at least 3 months worth of your medications where you're coming from, especially if you've got a plan, which we were fortunate enough to have a plan, so we got 3 months worth of medications, but it ran over just a little bit on the timeline. But our pharmacist actually tipped us off to a number for a doctor, and within 2 weeks we had a doctor here, which is
Not
5.
2 weeks from when we
Not when we got here,
arrived.
but because you won't get anything for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get your New Brunswick medical card first, and then the doctors are assigned.
Yeah.
So do you have a doctor now?
We do.
And how long have you been living here?
6 months,
6
which
months.
apparently we were told was extremely lucky,
Mm-hmm.
because some of the people that have been working on our house have one guy in particular that came out. He's been waiting 3 years, and he came from Ontario.
So
He's in Moncton, isn't he?
do you think
Yeah.
that it's your health records that have prompted you to be able to get a doctor?
No,
No,
it was
not in
just
this
that,
case. We just got lucky.
You got
Yeah.
lucky.
We got lucky because the one thing I always say is ask questions.
Mhm.
So if you do need to get some medication or something like that, ask people.
So do you mind just very briefly sharing what your health issues were before you came out here?
No, I had lots of them. I'm the type of person that can walk into an emergency room and they give me the questionnaire and I say everything but pregnant. Because I'm diabetic. That came after my first heart attack because they left me on medication too long. So I became diabetic, but it runs in the family, so I guess it could happen anyway. The second heart attack, I had 10 years from the first one. It was 7 years ago now. And that was fine. But then I started developing other issues. The worst of all was probably cancer. I was at work and I noticed a lump on my neck. Went to the doctor and she said, "Oh, that's a big one." And I went, "Okay." And we kind of had an inclination that it was probably going to be cancer. And sure enough, it was. Although it was stage 4 instead of stage 2, like we originally thought it was going to be. And so I started chemotherapy in February of year before last. I started chemo then, and was that last year? Last year,
It was, 2021.
2021. Sorry, I don't pay attention to my diseases apparently. But and then 2 weeks after I started my chemo, she had open heart surgery. So I was very fortunate. I worked for a company that bought us about 5 months worth of HelloFresh.
Mm-hmm.
So that made it easy for me. I didn't have to go out anywhere because I was, at that point, I would be very vulnerable to different viruses and stuff because my body,
COVID was
COVID and anything, because I had no immune what do you call it? System. No, my system was not immune at all. So
it was safe to say that both of you had some very serious issues.
God, yeah.
And yet, and you're not like in your 20s.
No.
So moving across the country is an enormous
Big time task.
undertaking. Yeah,
it was, because it wasn't just the fact that we were moving across the country. It's that 2 of our children decided they wanted to move to another province, and so we had a couple of them staying with us for a couple of weeks and doing things between the 3 of us, and then packing everything, getting everything.
We were
packed.
motivated. We were motivated
Yes.
for a change. We were ready. We wanted to start a new chapter in our lives, and we thought that this was going to be the best choice for us, and we were right.
I've always been fascinated by the Maritimes.
Have you been here before?
I've never
No.
been here before. The furthest east
Neither
I'd ever
of us.
been was the furthest east would be Chicoutimi, but basically it was Montreal. We were there for a football final, and it's never been to the Maritimes before. My dad had a fascination for it too, but I don't know if he ever went there. He was in different areas of all over the world.
In a lot of ways, it's almost like going back in time. In
It
a
is.
nice way, but in a nice way.
Yeah, we've mentioned that too.
It's-
That it's like seeing children playing by themselves
On the street out here, walking on the street, they're
Yeah.
playing,
Just a more
playing
relaxed
hockey or playing.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
It really
okay,
is.
so let's talk about that. Then you've been here since June, right? So you've been through a summer and most of a fall. We're just sort of on the outer fringes of the beginning of winter. What have your first impressions been of life out here?
Well, I think maybe because we had no idea what it was like in the sense of actually being here and seeing what it's like, we really lucked out here. I really think we lucked out really good. The area here that we're in is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Our
good.
neighbors are fantastic, really good. And, just driving around St. It's almost like being on holiday for us. But it's just so nice that people are friendlier here. She doesn't believe it, but I said the angriest person I've met here has been me. So
Well, that's because you're not from here.
I'm not from here.
It's true.
So it's I tell you, it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
I do have some pet peeves when I'm driving, and if I see a person that doesn't signal or doesn't have their vehicle up to snuff as far as their brake lights working and stuff,
Get
you know,
that little road rage.
oh yeah, it's there. It's there.
We noticed that from a lot of the Ontarians that have moved in, but it goes away in time. We were uptight when we moved here too,
Yeah.
but now I drive like a grandmother. So it's definitely that. So other impressions. What about weather-wise?
The weather has been phenomenal. This summer we knew a lot of locals were saying how hot it was, and I'm going, but we're not even at 30 degrees here. It was like 28 or 29 degrees.
It is humid though.
Mhm.
It
It
is
is a
humid,
lot more humid.
Yeah.
It does make a difference.
but still, it's not
Yeah.
50 degrees,
No.
which
no.
we had in BC.
And not for length of time. You seem to have 4 nice seasons.
Mhm.
We don't know about winter yet. We're just, like you say, on the
Absolutely.
fringes of that.
Mhm.
But, you
Wouldn't it
know,
be 3 nice seasons?
no, I love winter as well.
No, but you said 4 nice seasons.
Yeah.
There's not 16 months in a year.
No, but there are 4 seasons.
That would still be 3 months a season then, if you're going to do it like that. But it's actually only 12 months a
What are
year.
you talking about? We
4
have 4
times 4.
seasons.
We
right?
we do, but
We have
we can discuss that after.
4 times 3 is 12.
Okay, so you had summer, you've had fall. Was the fall colder, warmer?
It's gorgeous here.
It's been lovely.
She was
It's
back
really
in Calgary
nice.
or back in Red Deer, and I'm out here in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And people are going, "Wow, it's gorgeous weather out here today." And I'm going, "Yeah, it sure is."
Yeah, it's
We've had a lovely fall.
a
It's been
lot
Yeah.
of sunshine,
Yeah.
warm
The
weather.
colours have been lovely too. They're a little more accentuated down here.
Yes. What about the hurricane/tropical storms?
What
that we've lived
hurricane?
through? Yeah.
It was just
We were lucky.
just windy.
Yeah.
It was just windy here. A few trees around the area, I'd say the neighborhood. A couple of them came down or had branches that were broken. But we've had big windstorms like that in BC out in the valley.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't bother me then.
So you've met some neighbors.
Lovely neighbors. We got our neighbor to this side of us here, which is Mary Ann, and
No names.
I
Yeah,
didn't name the
Don't
whole
name
names.
names.
that's okay. So you've got nice neighbors. You've
Great
got some
neighbors.
people doing some work around the home. That's
Yes.
all worked out well
We
for
were
you.
very
That part
lucky.
we did know from before we
Yeah.
started the
Yeah.
interview. But
You got to be prepared to ask questions, because some people, it's always it's not always what you know, it's who you know.
Mhm.
Everybody's been really surprised how quickly we found a handyman. Actually, even even our neighbour.
Yeah.
She was surprised how quickly it was too. So yeah, so everything seems to have been falling into place. As for the healthcare, I was a little bit nervous about it because I'd heard things about it. But again, apart from initially, the worst thing is waiting for your healthcare card, because you're dead in the water until you've got it. You can't apply for anything else. You can't do anything else unless you've got your medical healthcare card. But now it took us 6 months. We've got a doctor. We've got our disabled sticker. We're on the list to get our tests done at the hospital, and we're catching up with everything that we need
Really
to
quickly,
get
which is
done.
nice.
Which with my case, because I had open heart surgery, I had a valve replacement. I have to have an INR blood test. I'm supposed to have it every month or every 3 months as you progress. So that's all now being taken care of by the doctor, who seems very, very thorough. And yeah, everything is starting to fall into place nicely.
It takes a while.
Yeah, it
But,
does take a while.
moving from one province to another is not. It's not like flipping a switch and you're there.
Mm-mm. And it is very different here
It is
than
different.
BC.
So
sorry, what's different in here than BC?
Well, just the pace of life.
Yes.
It's wonderful going on the highways. I mean, yesterday we had to take Luna to Hampton, which is about 35 minutes
30
away. The highway, if we used to go on the highway, it was very stressful, lots and lots of cars.
Bumper to bumper.
Here, it's just so nice. There's not very many cars on the highways. It's just a different pace. People seem very friendly. I'm sure there are nice, friendly people everywhere. But
Just
over
not BC.
here, it is a little bit like going back in time.
It is.
Everyone is just a little kinder. I mean, even when you go through a drive-through, they'll call you, thank you, dear. It's warm.
I told you before.
It's
they
a
were flirting
warm
with me.
feeling. It's nice. It's a warm feeling.
It is.
And
It's almost like being back in happy days with people. Some of the people around here,
well, we've got
they
a
are
vintage
literally
house.
that friendly. I mean, it's insane. But she said, "Thank you."
No, it's the dear. They call you dear a lot here.
I was just, I was thinking of your story, and the reason why we wanted to interview you the most is just because, I mean, you had some health issues, and it seems like you went through a lot in 2021, and yet you found the strength to make a major move like this across the country. And so I was just like, we're mesmerized by what you overcame to get here, sort of thing. And we have my brother-in-law, Les's brother, who has some health issues and stuff. And we're like, man, if Barb and Darryl can make it here, like anybody can make it. Yeah,
we can do it. I mean, our oncologist, Dr. I can't name her.
Rhinebeck.
No.
Oh, Callan.
It was my oncologist, and I'll give credit where credit's due. She made the phone call out here and got me hooked up with the oncologist out here before we even had a doctor. Yeah. And I had my first appointment literally 3 days after we were here. I had to go see him, and we were still staying in the hotel at that time.
Yeah. That's definitely the way to do it. Like if you have any specialists or special needs or whatever, is to get your recommendation before you leave.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
right.
That's right. You have to be set up, especially if you've got, issues that really need to follow up closely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it really matters where you are in the country right now. There's just a very extreme shortage of health professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned it before in our videos that there's over 5 million Canadians that don't have a family doctor. We talk about healthcare in New Brunswick quite often because there's so many articles that make it seem all doom and gloom, but we haven't experienced that. And we've shared our anecdotal experiences.
But you have to be proactive.
You do, yeah. You have to get on registries. You have to.
You don't just register and wait. You've got to ask your pharmacist. You've got to ask people.
Following up.
There are people. It's not what you know; it's who you know. Sometimes, and they can just, they might have someone who they can give you a phone number and ring them. Ring them and ask. All they can say is no.
Yeah.
And we were lucky that somebody said yes. So, but if you're going to just go on the list, sit back and just wait, then the chances are it's going to take a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. So now that you're here for almost 6 months.
6 months. June 12th. We got here June 12th.
So we've seen a little bit of your beautiful home. You've got your gorgeous Christmas tree up.
Yes.
Are you feeling a little bit settled?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I was settled here I was settled here the first few weeks. I fell in love with this place. I really did. I mean, I started going out for drives and doing things. We'd go out different beaches and stuff. And once we found Bayshore Beach, then they became more at home because we were taken to the beaches, and they were quite familiar because we went down to Oregon, and the beaches down there, a little bit more sand, but very similar.
Yeah.
And they love the beaches, and I love the beach, and I actually have been way more active here.
Yeah.
But it's not just the beaches too, although, I mean, just going to Uptown, you have to pass the water.
Yeah.
And there's something, again, very therapeutic and relaxing about just going and seeing it, going into town.
Cruise ships were cool.
The cruise ships, the vibe was great. It was lovely after COVID to have the cruise ships come in, and sometimes there were 2 or 3, all sort of, parked behind each other. Mm-hmm. And again, it's a great feeling. It's a vibrancy that is great for the city and good for everybody's morale, especially after COVID.
Absolutely.
I tried dragging Barb to the St. John Market many times.
The farmers market?
The
city market.
City market.
Oh, yeah,
the oldest one there.
Yeah.
And I tried to get Barb to go there, and she only got there just the other day.
I bought that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so as Wendy mentioned, like you've been through so much.
Mhm.
You, Barb, you said you were motivated. You did all that work. You purchased your home without ever seeing it.
That was scary.
I
It was
bet it
scary,
was.
at the time, but I kind of, from the videos that you supplied us when you go look at a house for us, I'd look around the house, and for me, I mean, I could see most of any issue I saw, I could see in the video. Um, the hot water heater here was fairly new. The roof was fairly new. The electrical panel was fairly, had been gone over. It had the 200 amp one. And I mean, we knew, it's a house built in 1958. It's never going to be perfect, even if I was to be on top of everything 24/7. But it's built really well.
And we did luck in with the because we could see the house, but we didn't really. I didn't realize until it actually arrived that we lucked in with the neighborhood. It's a lovely neighborhood. I do, like the west side. If anybody's thinking about it, the west side is just lovely. And it's we're in Quinton Heights, and it is just very family friendly. The houses are all looked after nicely, with proximity to the beaches, very close. I mean, we've got not just shopping. You got every single thing that you want here, and yeah. So we were very, very fortunate with the not just the house, but the neighborhood as well. Yeah,
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, because I mean that's a huge leap of faith to buy something you haven't seen before. It's a huge leap of faith to move to a city you've never been to before. It's a huge leap of faith to trust a healthcare system under the circumstances that you had, and then it's just a huge effort to sell everything, move across the country, and do it in hopes for a better life. So
you just take it one day at a time.
Take it one day at a time, one step. Yeah.
Don't look too far in the future. What you've got to do,
it can be overwhelming.
Just do it little bits at a time, and then you get there.
Yep.
It's the same with anything.
And was it worth it?
Oh yes.
Oh,
the thing is, this is really curious because Barb initially told me before we even moved out here, she said, I'll give it 2 years and then I'm going to move back to Red Deer to be with the kids. That's what you said. And I know. And I said, well, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, that's the one thing at this stage of our lives, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. She went back to the Red Deer for that 1 month. She came back here. She said, I just wanted to come home.
So it's home already.
It's home.
It was.
That's so lovely.
My beautiful home, my lovely house, but you make it a home.
Yes. I was going to ask you, out of your whole journey, I mean, your journey starts from last year, like 2021, and you ended up in St. John, but your journey has not just been the move. It's been a long journey. It's been a long health journey. It's been, separating from your daughters and everything else. What would you say is probably the most overwhelming part of that journey? Like now you see it, like when you got
For me, it's not having the kids close.
Okay.
Because we've got, we've got grandchildren and we've got 4 kids.
4 kids, 6 grandchildren.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I used to see them almost every day.
No.
Except for COVID. Except during COVID. But I'd see them a lot. Especially
because
when we lived
you drive in. She'd have to drive in. Apparently it's a different distance from Hope to Chilliwack than Chilliwack to Hope.
So we're familiar with that.
Yeah. And I'm shaking my head because the kids would never come out and visit us unless it was some monthly thing they pre-planned or something like that. But no, I don't. I mean, I miss the kids. I love the kids, but I don't have to see them every day. And I mean, I'd rather do this than live in Alberta.
Everybody's got to live their own life, right?
Yes.
Take their own path.
That's right. And they're all grown up now. And I still go back. I'm still going to go back and visit them. I just got back from a month there. which was very exciting. And I'll go back in the summer.
So that was the hardest part, was just separating from your
Yes,
girls?
for me. For
Okay.
me.
For her.
But
yeah.
I'm, you know,
You're a
I'm
mother.
a mother.
Yes,
She is.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was difficult.
I had no real doubts about coming here. I
Because
wanted
he's
to
a
come out
father.
here. I'm a father. I really don't. I mean, I miss the kids. I love the kids, but I don't miss them because they are adults. And I know that if I was at their stage of life where they are now, when I was younger, my parents would have.
Yeah.
They would have supported me. I mean, I was married. My dad was a military officer. He was in the Air Force back when it was the Royal Canadian Air Force, and we went to Germany for 5 years. And that was when he was East and West Germany and all this stuff. And I said, I've been moving all my life, to some degree, but BC was the longest I'd ever stayed up until that time. And BC, it's a beautiful place, but it's just another place.
Well, for me, it was just the children. It was family. I mean, you guys, you don't have enough of you don't have family here either. But for me, it was the family. It's not a place. I've moved countries many times, back and forth from Australia to Britain and then Canada.
They kept kicking her out.
Nobody wanted me to stay. But, that I can see my parents. She always used to say, it's a house, but you make it a home wherever you are. But for me, that was the worst thing is leaving the kids.
But okay, so that's totally understandable. Now, as for you don't have your kids here, but you do have your own life here, would you say that, I don't know, that you love St. John?
Oh yeah, we love St. John.
Yay!
St. John.
Yeah, you
Yes.
And
All right.
There you
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. Everybody always loves the videos that we do of people and their journeys and their motivation of coming out here, everything else. So you've touched on so many things that we love about St. John. So I'm so glad that we have more people who
love St.
Love St.
John.
John.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.